the 4th of January 2012, a single image was posted on 4chan, one of the most anonymous, chaotic corners of the entire internet. The image was plain white text on a black background. It said this: "Hello. We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There is a message hidden in this image. Find it. If you are able to pass, the messages will lead you on a road to find us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck. 3,301. That was it. No website, no explanation, no identity. Just a puzzle hidden inside an image, a promise of something at the end, and a number. What followed over the next several weeks was one of the most sophisticated, multi-layered, and genuinely unexplained puzzles ever posted on the internet. Thousands of people attempted it. Dozens of the most intelligent cryptographers, coders, linguists, and puzzle solvers on the internet joined forces to crack it. The puzzle led them from a hidden message inside an image, to a phone number, to a website, to a book cipher, to physical locations on multiple continents, where actual printed clues had been left in the real world. And then it ended. Whoever had posted it went dark. The people who claimed to have solved it never said what they found, and nobody has ever definitively identified who Cicada 3,301 is, what they wanted, or whether any of it was real. The puzzle returned in 2013, and again in 2014, each time more complex than the last, each time ending in the same silence. This is Shadow Cipher Files, and this is the internet's most sophisticated unsolved cipher, the one that nobody who solved it has ever talked about, and the one that nobody who studies it can fully explain. To understand why Cicada 3,301 is genuinely different from every other internet mystery, you need to understand what the puzzle actually required of the people who attempted it. The first step was straightforward by the standards of what came later. The original image posted on 4chan contained a hidden message embedded using a technique called steganography. Steganography is the practice of hiding information inside other information, in this case, hiding text inside the data of an image file in a way that is invisible to the naked eye, but readable if you know how to look for it. The hidden message inside the original image contained a Caesar cipher. A Caesar cipher is one of the oldest encryption methods in existence, named after Julius Caesar, who used it in his military correspondence. It works by shifting each letter of the alphabet a fixed number of positions. Decode the Caesar cipher, and you got a clue pointing to a specific Reddit page. That Reddit page led to another image. That image contained another hidden message using steganography. That message pointed to a phone number. If you called the phone number, a recorded voice read you a poem by the Victorian poet Alfred Lord Tennyson. The poem was not random. It was a clue. Embedded within it were numbers. Those numbers were coordinates. The coordinates pointed to a physical location in the real world. And when people went to those physical locations not one location but multiple locations simultaneously, in cities including Dallas, Miami, Seattle, New Orleans, and several cities in Europe and Australia they found printed posters with a QR code and an image of a cicada. A cicada, the insect, which has a life cycle of either 13 or 17 years, both prime numbers. The puzzle was not accidentally named. The QR code led to a dark web address, and behind that address was the next stage of the puzzle. This is where most analyses of Cicada 3,301 stop, because this is where the publicly documented trail becomes thin and disputed. What is known is that the puzzle continued through multiple additional stages, incorporating elements of number theory, ancient Mayan numerology, references to an obscure Victorian occult text, original music with hidden frequencies, and challenges that required simultaneous global cooperation to solve, because different puzzle fragments were distributed across different physical locations around the world. The people working on it were not casual internet users. They were professional cryptographers, computer security experts, academic mathematicians, and they were working together in coordinated online communities, specifically built to crack this puzzle. Most of them could not finish it. The people who claimed to have completed Cicada 3,301 euro, and there were a small number of them euro, shared almost nothing about what they found at the end. This is itself one of the most discussed aspects of the case. In most puzzle communities, solving a difficult puzzle leads to celebration, documentation, and sharing. You solved it, you tell people how. That is how internet puzzle culture works. Cicada 3,301 produced the opposite behavior. The people who reached the end went quiet. Some of them returned to the communities where they had been working publicly and simply stopped posting. Some of them said only that they had found something and that they could not talk about it. A small number said that they had been contacted by Cicada 3,301 directly, privately, and had agreed to confidentiality as a condition of that contact. Whether this is true or a performance is impossible to verify, but the consistency of the behavior across multiple independent solvers from different countries and backgrounds is unusual. It does not look like coordinated deception. It looks like people who actually found something and made a decision not to discuss it. What did they find? Nobody outside that small group knows. The theories about the identity and purpose of Cicada 3,301 exist on a spectrum from mundane to extraordinary. On the more grounded end, many researchers believe Cicada 3,301 was a sophisticated recruiting tool used by an intelligence agency, Euro, most commonly named as the NSA, CIA, British GCHQ, or Israeli Mossad Euro, to identify exceptional cryptographic talent without a formal application process. The logic is straightforward. If you want to find the best codebreakers in the world, you post the most difficult cipher on the most public platform and see who solves it. This theory is supported by the specific skill profile the puzzle required. It was not just difficult. It was difficult in a way that precisely mapped to the skills needed for intelligence community work: cryptography, operational security, steganography, the ability to coordinate globally, the ability to think across disciplines Euro, literature, mathematics, music, ancient history Euro, simultaneously. These are not random puzzle skills. They are a very specific professional skill set. The second major theory is that Cicada 3,301 is a private organization, Euro, a secret society, in the modern sense, Euro, recruiting members based on intellectual capability. The occult elements of the puzzle support this reading. The references to the Victorian-era secret tradition of the Book of the Law, to Aleister Crowley, and the philosophical tradition of Thelema, to Mayan calendar mathematics, Euro, these are not the fingerprints of a government intelligence agency. They suggest something with a specific ideological identity, a worldview that values the combination of analytical precision and esoteric knowledge. The third theory, and the one that most casual observers land on first, is that Cicada 3,301 was an elaborate performance with nothing behind it. A puzzle, for the sake of a puzzle. Art. An experiment in collective intelligence. A demonstration of what the internet could do when pointed at a sufficiently complex problem. This theory has one significant problem: the physical clues. The printed posters that appeared simultaneously in cities across multiple continents require real-world infrastructure. Real people placing real objects at real coordinates at roughly the same time. Whatever Cicada 3,301 is, it has physical presence, resources, and global coordination. It is not a single person posting puzzles from a bedroom. The third puzzle, posted in 2014, added elements that shifted the debate significantly. This iteration of Cicada 3,301 included direct philosophical statements embedded within the puzzle itself. Not just ciphers pointing to the next clue, but statements of values and intent. The embedded text spoke about privacy, about freedom of information, about the importance of protecting individual liberty from institutional surveillance. This was 2014. 1 year after Edward Snowden's revelations about NSA surveillance had changed the global conversation about digital privacy. The timing was not lost on researchers. The philosophical content of the 2014 puzzle aligned almost precisely with the values of the global digital privacy movement that was galvanized by the Snowden disclosures. This shifted many researchers toward a theory that Cicada 3,301 was connected to the digital privacy and freedom community, the world of hacktivists, cryptography advocates, and open internet activists who operate in the spaces between mainstream institutions and outright criminal hacking. Organizations in this space include people who are brilliant, globally connected, ideologically motivated, and specifically skilled in exactly the areas the Cicada puzzle required. The 2014 puzzle also included what researchers described as a book cipher based on an obscure, privately published text. A book cipher uses a specific book as the key. You need the exact book to decode the message. The choice of an obscure, privately published text as the cipher key communicated something important. Whoever created this puzzle was not working from publicly available reference material. They had access to, or had created, materials that were not in mainstream circulation. This is not the behavior of someone operating alone. After 2014, Cicada 3,301 went dark for several years. In 2016, a message appeared that claimed to be from Cicada 3,301 and referenced internal conflict within the organization. Several researchers who had followed the case closely considered this message to be authentic based on its cryptographic signatures, matching previous verified Cicada communications. Others considered it a fabrication by someone attempting to extend the mythology. In 2017, a smaller puzzle appeared that some researchers attributed to Cicada 3,301 and others dismissed as imitation. Since then, the silence has been longer and more complete. What can we actually conclude from the evidence? Cicada 3,301 required and demonstrated knowledge of professional-grade cryptography, steganography, operational security, global logistics, multiple ancient and modern languages, music theory, occult literature, number theory, and the ability to maintain secrecy across a distributed organization over multiple years. This is not a description of a hobby project. This is a description of an organization. The puzzle's difficulty was calibrated precisely to filter out everyone below a certain level of analytical capability, while remaining theoretically solvable by people who possessed the right combination of skills. This kind of calibrated difficulty is a design choice. Somebody thought very carefully about what the puzzle needed to do. The physical clues placed around the world required operational coordination and resources. You cannot post a clue at a specific GPS coordinate in Warsaw and Sydney and New Orleans simultaneously without real people and real organization. The solvers who reached the end went quiet in a way that is consistent with having been offered and accepted something. What that something was remains unknown. And the puzzle has never been definitively attributed to any individual or organization, despite years of dedicated research by some of the most capable analysts who engage with this kind of material publicly. The cipher is real. The organization is real. The purpose is unknown. I want to tell you something that most Cicada 3,301 videos do not. The puzzle itself, regardless of what is behind it, is one of the most important demonstrations of something genuinely new that the internet made possible. Before the internet, a puzzle this complex could not have been solved at all. It required global coordination, real-time collaboration across languages and time zones, simultaneous physical presence in multiple cities, and the ability to aggregate specialized knowledge from hundreds of individuals who had never met. No single person possessed all the skills the puzzle required. No pre-internet community could have assembled the right combination of expertise in the time frame the puzzle operated within. Cicada 3,301 was a cipher, but it was also a proof of concept. It demonstrated that a distributed global intelligence, a collective mind, assembled from the internet's most capable individuals, working in coordination, could crack almost anything. And whoever created it knew that. They designed the puzzle to require exactly that kind of collective intelligence. They knew what the internet was capable of before most institutions had begun to understand it. That knowledge, built into the design of the puzzle itself, is the most coded communication, Cicada 3301, ever produced. It says, "We understand what this network can do. We understand it better than you do. And we are using it in ways you have not imagined yet." Cicada 3301 may return. It has before. The pattern of years-long silences followed by a new puzzle has established itself across more than a decade. If it does return, it will almost certainly be more complex than anything that came before. And it will find an internet that has changed enormously since 2012. More surveillance, more AI capable of assisting with analysis, more people with the specific skill profile the puzzle selects for, and more years of accumulated research from the communities that have been studying every fragment of the previous puzzles. Whether the next puzzle produces a solver who talks about what they found that is the question I am most interested in. Because the silence of the solvers is ultimately the deepest cipher in this entire case. Not the steganography, not the book ciphers, not the coordinates, the silence. What did they find that made them go quiet? Leave your best theory in the comments. Not just what you think Cicada 3301 is but what you think the solvers found that made them stop talking. Because I think that question is the one that gets closest to what this case actually is. Subscribe to Shadow Cipher Files if you want to keep going into cases where the evidence has a hidden layer that most people never reach. Next week we are going into the ransom note that divided an entire murder investigation. Handwriting experts disagree. Language experts disagree. And the family at the center of the case has never had an answer in almost 30 years. It is one of the most analyzed pieces of handwritten evidence in American criminal history. This is Shadow Cipher Files. The puzzle is real. The organization is real. And somewhere out there, a small number of people know exactly what is at the end of it. And they are not talking. I will see you next week.